welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be working on problem number 881 called Boats to Save People. Just to give you guys a little bit context, I usually work on problems that I have not worked in the past, but this problem I did work in the past and I got it wrong. So I worked on it on 2019 and today's April 8th, 2022. So I'm going to try to work on it and see if I can get it right this time. You're given an array of people where people index I is the weight of the ith person and an infinite number of boats, okay, where each boat can carry a maximum weight of limit. Each boat carries at most two people at the same time, provided the sum of the weight of those people is at most, okay, at most limit. Return the minimum number of boats to carry every given person. So for example, in here we're given people, and the number of people is represented by the length of the array, and each person in here represents the weight. So person 1 or index 0 is weight 1 pound, or weight 2, and the limit that we can carry is 3. So obviously because 2 plus 1 is 3, that is within the limit, we can take one boat. Let's look at this second example. The limit is 3, and in here this is one person. One boat can carry one person, another boat can carry these two people, and then another boat can carry two. So 3 boats is 1, 2, 2, and 3. Let's take a look at this one. The limit is 5. Each boat can carry a maximum amount of 5. So in here you have 4 because this is 4. This is 3. This is 5, so obviously that exceeds the count. And then this is 3. So now even though this is 3, we don't have any other boat that is, let's say for example, if one person's weight was 2, 3, yeah, so one person's weight right now is 3, so if there was another person in here that was 2 pounds, then we could put this person and that one other person onto that one boat. But because they all do not make up the limit of 5, they are less than or equal to 5 or close to 5, we have to use 4 boats as the minimum. And the constraints that we're given is 1 is less than or equal to people dot length, which is less than 5 times 10 to the power of 4, okay, and 1 is less than or equal to people index I, which is less than, okay, so this is always going to be less than the limit, so we're never going to get a person that is greater than the limit. So that's a good edge case that we don't have to worry about. It's just less than 3 times 10 to the 4th. Okay. So the problem seems pretty straightforward, and in here, as any interview, I'm going to highlight the steps to solve it. So right off the bat, I'm thinking we should sort the array. So if we have something like this, that will become, let's just sort it, for example. 5, 4, 3, 3, 5, 4, 3, 3. And after we've sorted it, we want to find out what that limit is, right? So if the person in here can exceeds or is the count of the limit, then we add this person to the boat. If not, let's say if it was 4 or anything less, then we continue and check if there's any number that's less than it. So the way we do that is a bit tricky, because once we've sorted the array, so for example, let's say the limit is 5, and in here we have 4. So we check the next one, but obviously it's 3. But what if we had something like 1, right? And here what we would need to do is we need to combine 4 and 1, or maybe 3 and 1. And that will make up the limit. Once we add 1, I'm thinking, let's say we had another one right here. So what we would do is we would check 4, then we check 3. Does that? No. Does that? No. So let's check the number less than 3. If it is 1, then what we can do is we can add 4 and 1 and then remove 4 and 1 from there. If we don't see any other one, then obviously we know that, this person can't. Now, the runtime for this would be O of n squared, sort of, because to sort the array, that's O of n log of n. N log, of n. And then to check, for example, let's say we're at 5, but then we check, all right, if it exceeds the limit, that's fine. But then we're at 4, and then we check, all right, 1. Okay, but then we're at 3, and then we check, well, is there another one right here? So essentially, it would be n log, so it would kind of be n squared, but what we would be doing is, we would reduce the array if we found it. But in the worst case, let's say this one was not there, then for each one, we would be checking, all right, 3 is here, but then let's say if the next number is, 1. One thing we can do is we can sort the array. Once we sort the array, what if we get, so we know 5 exceeds the limit, it's greater than or equal to the limit, is the limit, then 4 requires 1. So if we add it to a hash map, so let's say the limit is 5, what is 5 minus 4 is 1, then we can look for a key that is 1. So what if we add all these values to a hash map, and then we can remove those values to a map. So for example, let's say we have a map that's like 5 is 0, and then 4 is 1, and then 3 is 2, and then 1 is 4, and then another one is 4. But then the problem is we can't have duplicate keys. So what we can do is, let's say we want to find the difference between, 4, then we check 1. There are 2 1s. Let me see if there's any other way. What if we go inward? So we have outer number and an inner number. So we'll know that the numbers all the way to the right will always be greater than the numbers, all the way to the left will be greater than the numbers all the way to the right. So what if we do 4, and then there was 1. So we can say, all right, 4 and 1 equals 5, so we can remove these from the list, right? And then we move on, and then we do 3, and then we check, all right, 3 is here as 1. If 3 and 1 are 4, we know there's no more 1. Now, I think that should work as well. Let's say it was 2 1. So we have 5, 4, 3, 3, 2, and another 2. So let's say we have 5, and then obviously 5 is equal to limit. Then we have 4, and then we have 1. Let's add another 1 to make it. So we have 4, then we have 1 like this. So that equals 5, so we can put these two people on one boat. Then we have 3. And then we have, hold on, so 5 was canceled out, then 4 and 1, that cancels out, that's, let me write down, that's one boat, and then another boat is 4 and 1, that's 2 boats, and another boat is 3 and 1, because we moved inward after removing that, is 3 boats. So now we're left with 3 and 2. That is 3 plus 2 is 5. So obviously that's 4 boats. And then we're left with 2 by itself. That's 5 boats. Can we do better than that? So let's say we do 5 and then 4 and 1. That's 2 boats. Then 3 and 1. That's 3 boats. And then we already did that. But what if we did 3 and 2? That's 3 boats, right? Like this. And then 3 and 2, that's 4 boats, and then 1 by itself. So I think this will give us 5. This should give us 5. And if we put 5, wait a second, return 0. Yeah, so it expected 5. So that's one way. I think we could still use a hash map. So the second solution is still to use a hash map, but the problem is that there are multiple 3s. So in the map, what we can do is we can create like an object that contains the count as well as the subtracted value. So let's say the number of 5 remaining is 1, or the count of 5 is 1. We can always deduct that count. And then as we're looping through it, so let's say we have 5, which is the limit. Then we have 4. And then let's say we had 1, 4, and it's looking, the subtracted value is 1, so we find 1. But let's say we have 3. And what it's looking for is 2. But for example, let's say it's looking, the only value that we have is 1. We could still add 1 to this, but I'm not sure if we can find a value that is less than or equal. I know map contains value is a function, so we can check if map.contains value that is 2 or 1 that is less than the current number, right? So I think that would complicate it. I think the first solution, if it works, I think that is the best one. So basically, we first sort the array. After we sort it, we use 2 pointers approach, both starting from beginning and end. If the begin is equal to the limit, we add that to the list and we increment begin by 1. If else, so for example, then we move 4, then we check, all right, what is 4 minus, because this is going to be the next greatest, right? And we know that if it's, if, for example, this was 2, then we don't need to move inward. Else, if the end is greater than the difference, so we have to calculate the difference. So if the end value is greater than what the difference is, so for example, let's say we didn't have 1s, we had 2, we would just add 4 to the list, and then we would increment 3. We add the begin again to the list and increment begin. Now let's say if the end is less than or equal to difference, then we add that end to, then we keep, so this would be like a while loop, adding that end to the list. Essentially making it a list of lists until we get a value that is greater than the difference. So we deduct from the difference. So for example, let's say it's 3 and then we have 1, that's 4. But then until we reach 5, okay, that's 5. Now, but let's say the next one was 2, then we stop because the difference now is greater than the limit. So we stop here. And then we remove all of these values. So one thing we need to do is we need to add and then also remove, so we know where we don't need to remove, sorry, we can just keep the counter, and we know obviously if the counter has it, we increment and decrement. And then in the end, we return the size of the list. If we didn't add it to the list, then we can just return the count, but for debugging purposes, I think it's just going to be easier to use more memory. So let's get started. List of a list of integer, list of list equals new array list, and in here, I'm not sure what syntax is. I don't know if you can do it like this, but let's just do it like this. Then we have list of integer, which is list equals new array list. So the first thing you want to do is arrays dot sort people. Once we do that, then we create a pointer. I just want to see if there's any edge cases that I'm missing. It says the length of people is always less than or equal to 1, so we don't have to worry about an empty empty array. So I think we should be good to go. So int start equals 0, and int end equals people dot length -1. and in the end we're going to return list of list dot size. So for while start is less than end, so until they overlap we're going to continue. First we check if the start is okay, so we have 5 if people that start is greater than or equal to limit we first add 5 to the list, then we get to 4. We add 4 to the list, so we always want to add list dot add start. Start, right? So if people dot index start is greater than or equal to limit, then what we do is list of list add list. Else if the end is greater than the difference, so we also need the current difference, and cur diff equals so the current difference is people index start minus limit. If cur diff so I think this should be better, is cur diff is equal to 0. We do list dot add people. Okay, so we added 5. We added list dot add. Then we check if cur diff, which is 0, is which is 5 minus limit is 0. Then we do list dot okay. Else if the end is greater than the difference, meaning let's say we are at 4 minus and cur diff is, but we need the diff between values. So difference between, okay, sorry, else if the end is greater than the difference. So, okay, yeah, that makes sense. So then else if the end is greater than the difference, we add the begin again to the list and increment begin. If the begin is equal to the limit, we add that to the list and we increment begin by 1. So let's start plus plus. Sorry, let's just start, makes more sense. Else if the end is greater than the difference, so let's say it was 4 and 1, So the currediff would be 4 minus 1. So else if um, people index end is greater than the currediff, so let's say this is 2 is greater than the currediff, which is 1, then we, in that case, we do end minus minus, and we also do list of list dot add list, and then we decrement the end because it is greater than the currediff. If the end is less than or equal to the difference, so first we come here, let's start. So we get 5 and then we add that because the currediff is, and then we increment it here, start. Then we go back, the currediff is 4 minus 5, or limit minus minus 4 is 1. Then we add people index start, which is 4. Then we check the currediff, no, it's 1. Then we check if people index end, which is 1, is greater than currediff. No, it's not. Then we just add list of lists. But else, if people index end is, if people index end is equal to the currediff, if it's not greater than, then it is less than, else while people index end is less than currediff, to currediff. So if the end is equal, less than, or equal to currediff, then we keep adding that end to the list. So we do list dot add and then end, and while we keep doing that, we keep decrementing the end. So let's say it's 4 minus 1, right? And then we do end minus minus end, but the currediff is if people index end is greater, the currediff, so the currediff is limit minus people dot index start, which is 1. What we really want to do is it shouldn't be currediff while people index end is less than or equal to, so 4 minus 1, 4 plus 1 is 5. So what we want to do is stop as soon as we get 5, right? So if 4, then currediff becomes limit So curdiff right now is 1. Because 5 minus 1 is, curdiff is limit minus people index start, so it's 1, right? If people index end is less than or equal to curdiff, then that becomes, so then we add that to the end, but then we want to stop when is 1 is 0. So right now the curdiff is 1. We could just do minus minus curdiff, and that will bring the curdiff to 0. So people index end, which is this, is less than curdiff, which is 0, because the curdiff before was 1. So if this is less than 0, it won't continue. So now curdiff is here. And until this is done, then we do list of list.add list. Okay. I believe in the end we return the size of the list. I think that should work. Because we add if curdiff equals 0, if people index end is okay. So then we do list of list.add in here. So let's start testing this. So let's say we're at 5. If curdiff equals, right now curdiff is limit, which is 5 minus 5. If curdiff equals 0, then list of list.add is, and then we increment the start. Then we go back to the beginning. The curdiff is limit, which is 5 minus 4. Then we add 4 to the list. And we check if curdiff, no. If people index end is greater than curdiff, the curdiff is 1. So it's not. Otherwise, we go to people index end is less than or equal to curdiff, which is true. Then we do list.add people, and then we deduct curdiff, and then that becomes 0. And end is now moved toward to here. And then we add it in here. Then we check, all right, 4. But then we've already worked with 4, so we forgot to increment in here start plus start, because we are now done with 4, right? Okay, so 4 added 1, so now we add 4 here. Then we get to 3. So now we have this one. List that we check. All right, so 3 minus 5 is 2, or 5 minus 3 is 2. Curdiff is not 0. If people index end is greater than curdiff, it's not. We go here while people index end is less than curdiff, which is and it's not minus curdiff, it should be curdiff minus equal people index end. So if it was like 5 in here, curdiff equals curdiff minus people index end. So in this case, like 3 minus 2, not 3 minus 1. I believe that should work. And I think we need to bring list in here because we keep adding to the list. So list, and let's see if this works. It's complaining about line 15. List, array list, integer list of list equals new array list. Yeah, I think that was the problem. Line 27 is list of list dot add list. What is the problem here? Do we need array list integer list equals new array list? Yeah, because we defined it as array list. So the output is 4, but we expected 5. And I think it's because of this. Let's take a look. If people index end is greater than curdiff, so let's take a look with this example. We have 5. So we increment the start, then we have if people index, okay, then we move on to the 4. Else if people index end is greater than curdiff. Actually, we can just use the debugger to find out what's going on. So we don't actually have to manually test. Sorry about this bug. So we sorted the array, that becomes 1, 1, 2. Oh, we need to sort it in reverse the way I have it, in reverse order. Can we do that? Let's see if this works. So we have an A collections dot reverse order. See if that works. Yeah. What we can just do is put everything in array list. I am not sure why when I was working on it I had it in mind and sorting it. But one thing I can just do is create a list L equals new array list, and for int I, and then people, and then we could just do L dot add I, and then we could just do collections dot sort L, and and then instead of people dot index start would be people dot get start. And instead of people, it will be L dot size -1. Let's see, say L people L and list dot add people dot get and people dot get and then people dot get and then curdiff minus equals people dot get end. So end equals start array list curdiff equals an L dot get and list of list dot get is list people. Wherever there's people, we just replace that with L. L, and then this right here is L. Let's see if that works. What's wrong with this? Let's dot get index Java. So what is wrong with this? Great. My machine's frozen. Where are we? List L. What is collection? I don't understand the problem. Int curdiff equals limit minus curlist dot get. Start. Int cur_num. What? this does not make sense. Oh my gosh. The output is still 4, so let's try to debug this. How is it 5, 4? Okay. And we add a list of list.add 5, then we increment start. Then now we are at 4. Kernum equals 4. Curdiff equals 1. So we add 4 to the list. If curdiff no, if cur list dot get end, which is 1, is greater than curdiff no, then while curdiff dot get is less dot end is less than or equal to. So for 1, so plus start. So now start is 2, 0, 1, 2, and end is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so now we've added 4 and 1, that's good. And kernel equals, okay, it's 3, it's 2, curdiff equals 0, no, it's not greater. So then we check, alright, call cur list dot get end, which is this right here, is less than or equal to curdiff, which is 2 list.add cur list, and then curdiff is now 1 and minus minus, while cur list.get. So right now we have list is 3, 1, which is 4, is less than or equal to curdiff. List.get end, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. While list.get end is less than, no, it's not. So then we increment start, which is now 3, 0, 1, 2, 3. List of list.add is okay. So it's 5 and then 4, 1 and then 3, 1. Okay, then we do start is now 3, which is this right here, and end is 3, 4, this 2 right here. Kernum is 3, okay, list.add is 3, if curdiff is 0, it's not, it's 2. So now we added 2, curdiff minus, okay. Now start is, now start is 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. I think I see the problem. It should be less than or equal to is 5. So now let's try to run all the other test cases and fingers crossed everything works. So it all works. Let's try to index out of bounds exception. Let's see, 2, 2, and then 6. Let's debug it. I think the problem is in here. And okay. If curdiff equals 0, list.add curdiff curlist.getEnd is greater than if curlist.getEnd, which is 2, is greater than curdiff, which is 4, no, then while curlist.getEnd is less than list.add. So now you add 2 and minus minus. Oh, okay, I see the problem. And so we need something like, let's see now if this works. Let's try to run those test cases again, and then let's try to submit it. Output 3, that's not what. Okay, 7 and 2 does not match, and then 3 and 2. Let's take a look. Okay, start is 0, end is 2. Kernum stock is 7. Okay, if curdiff is 1, no, else if curlist.getEnd is greater than end. If the end is greater than the curdiff, meaning the curdiff is 1, then we we should not just do end minus minus because that's going to give us 7 and 3. Because if the current list.getEnd is greater than 1, that means the numbers in here are going to be greater. So not only are we, so what we need to do is, let's start like this. There's a lot of edge case conditions that we have not really thought out. One of these has a problem. 1, 3, 3, 1, 3, 4. Let's take a look which one is failing. It says 1, 2, 3. Oh, okay, so it's the last one. 3, 5, 3, 4. And limit is 5. And this is failing. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's not add 4. Cardiff is not 0, else if current list.getEnd. Then we do list of list.add. Okay, so if cur_list, which is now 4.getEnd, is greater than cur_diff, which is 1, then we increment. We shouldn't decrement the end. We should only increment the start. Gosh, my brain. Please work now. 11. What is going on? How many test cases is that? 71 of 78, so probably some minor detail. Let me add this to Notepad for future test cases. Okay. Let's see why it's failing. It's expecting 11, but we gave it 9. Whew. Okay. Debugger. So limit is 50. This becomes 50. 49. Let's take a look at what this becomes and how it's 11. So we can actually debug this. Okay, so one list contains 50. Another list contains 49. Another list contains 47, 48, 49. So 47, 47 and then 2. Another list contains 41, 42, 43, 44, 45. So it's 41. Okay. 42, 43, 44, 45. So 41, 2, 2. What about 40? What about 33? Plus 6 is 39. So 33 and then 6 is 39. And then 36 plus 6 is 39. Plus another 6 is 45. 45. Sorry, another 6 is 45. So now we're all done with here. Now 26 plus 7 is 33. 43. So 26, 7, and 10. 10, so that's 26 plus 7 is 33, and then 43. And then this can go above 50 because the limit is 50. And then 22 plus 10 is 32. Then 42. Then 22 plus 10 plus 10. 10 plus 10, 32 and 42, and then we can't add 11. And then it's 18 plus 11 is 29. 29 plus 12, so 18 plus 11 is 29, and then plus 12 is 39, 40, 41, plus 12, 41. And now I think we are only left with 13. So the size of this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Why is it expecting 11? 41, 2, 2, and then 33 is 6, is 39, plus another 6. What? 33 plus 6 is 39, plus another 6 is 45, and then we move on to 26. How is it expecting 11? This is perfect. Oh, each boat carries at most 2 people at the same time. Oh my gosh, I completely forgot about that condition. and list dot size is less than 2. Now let's try, because in here we add to the list, list of list.add list, list of list.add. Let's see. Let's try to submit it now. Yes, so this was the one thing I guess I forgot, and I apologize for that. But that's it. Thank you for watching this video and watching my tutorial. Let me know if in ways how I could have improved this. But thanks again. Bye.